Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to our first parent-child workshop, which is conducted by WFSS, Wellness, Fitness, Sports, Synergize. Thank you very much for your attendance, and we would like to open this session by introducing our speakers. We have Dr. Mariam. Hi, Dr. Mariam.
Hi.
Okay. We have Coach Zul over here.
Hey, hi.
Okay. He just recently been nominated. What's the award that you just rewarded?
The Aspiring Coach Sports Care 2022.
Yes, congratulations, Coach Zul, for attaining such an accolade. Thank you very much. Whoa, congratulations. Okay, and myself, Coach Hassan Mulyadi, or Coach Adi for short. Okay, so we are going to present to all of you on how actually we're going to help your child on how to develop a holistic, synergistic way. Okay, without further ado, we're going to welcome Dr. Mariam, who's our first speaker. Okay, Dr. Mariam is a medical scientist with 15 years of experience on cancer research in Singapore, Malaysia, and Sweden. She founded Wellness with Dr. Mariam Private Limited, with the vision to transform people's health by inspiring and empowering them with knowledge and skills to lead a holistic and healthy life. She conducts health talks and courses and also offers a range of healthy snacks and home products for families. Without much ado, let's welcome Dr. Mariam with her session. Dr. Mariam, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Coach Adi, for the kind introduction. Welcome to the session today. And actually, I've been doing these talks for, I think, close to 2 to 3 years. This is the first time I'm going to give this particular talk, which is 7 strategies to proactive health. Okay, so you all are very lucky to get to see this first time. Okay, so just a bit of background. I was a researcher, and my field of studies include, when I was in bachelor's, I was studying the biochemistry, which is like all the chemical pathways that's happening in your body every second, every millisecond of the moment. And then after that, I went on for my master's, where I studied drug discovery, like how drugs are made. Okay, and then the next step, I was interested to know more about how the drugs work in the body, okay, the pharmaceutical drugs. And I was focusing mainly on 2 genes. And my master's and PhD are all targeted towards cancer drug discovery. Okay. So after doing all this research for 15 years, what I realized that actually there is a lot more things we can do in terms of prevention. Why is that? Okay, if we look at the preventable causes of cancer, and this is actually published in the papers, in the scientific papers by US, American Association for Cancer Research, AACR, in 2012. So this knowledge is not new. It has been around for a long time. And unfortunately, in our part of the world, we have not focused a lot on this kind of research, but it's coming up in Singapore. Okay? So if you look at this, what's the summary of this table is that 90 to 95% of the causes of cancer are environmental factors, okay, and they are preventable. Okay, for example, if you look here, you have tobacco, excess weight and obesity, diet, which is what we eat, and then lack of exercise and so on. And then only 5 to 10% are really caused by hereditary. Okay, but then this is generalization. There are some cancer which are mostly hereditary. Okay, and most of the people who have hereditary cancers, they get it from young. Okay, but that doesn't mean that if it runs in a family, it's 100% confirmed somebody will get. Not necessarily. Some people can, do something to prevent the onset in themselves, or at least delay. Okay. So let me go a bit into principal causes of death. Okay, I'm sorry that it's so bleak, like early in the morning, right? But then I just want to emphasize again, after you look at this, 90 to 95% of the causes of cancer are preventable. And then you look at the next table, does it add up? The first killer in Singapore is actually cancer. Okay, in fact, 1 in 4 in Singapore are expected or if according to the estimation, 1 in 4 people in Singapore are estimated to to contract cancer in their life, and then followed by the other diseases like we know, like heart diseases, and all that. And if we look at non-communicable diseases, what are these? Non-communicable diseases are those that are not infected by passing of virus. For example, like COVID or flu. That is something that sometimes we cannot avoid. If somebody has it, we are in close contact, we can get it. But non-communicable are those that are not transmitted in that way. Means is based on ourselves, our body, our DNA, our lifestyle, and what we do to ourselves. So I just take the 4 most common diseases. Okay, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, cancer, and chronic respiratory diseases, which are common in, at least in Singapore, if not the region or the world. Okay, and what are the 4 modifiable shared risk factors? Okay, it means what are the 4 factors that, if you modify, okay, it can change the risk. So if you look here, it's tobacco use, okay, which is in all of them. And in at least the 3 diseases which we know are prevalent in our country, it's unhealthy diet, physical inactivity, means they are not active physically, or the harmful use of alcohol. So I'm just sharing with you this data because this will set the tone for what we're going to share with you today. And, it's actually whatever we share, maybe it seems common like you see outside, but actually whatever we do, we want to share with the community how they can improve their lifestyle. And eventually, if they are conscious enough, hopefully we can even avoid these major diseases. Okay, so what are the other health stresses other than the 4 diseases? There's quite a lot more, of course, and these are the things that, is too much to cover today. But then these are what I will cover in my extended course, where I can talk more about UV, electronic radiation, pollution, and then all the other things that lead to DNA damage. And the thing is, once you get DNA damage, usually we have capabilities on our body to repair DNA damage. But what happened is that in our society right now, for example, just look at the bottom right corner, high sugar carbohydrate food. If we are eating this constantly every day for every meal, then don't you think that we are giving more damage like through the time? And then maybe even the body have a response system. After a while, either it's, it is too much that it cannot cope with it, with the damage and doing the repair, or it's just too much to handle. Yeah, basically that. Okay, it's accumulative. Okay, so this is the crux of the 7 strategies to proactive health. And it's in one slide, you can snapshot, it's okay. And I hope you can practice this. Okay, the first one is balanced diet. Okay, balanced diet, if you follow the healthy plate, at least half the plate have to be fruits and vegetables. And then just 1/4 of the plate is your carbohydrate. For example, your rice, your noodles or bread. And then another 1/4 is your proteins. Proteins can be fish or other meat, or you can even, for vegetarian, usually they take plant-based protein like lentils and so on. Okay. And organic is also good if you can, because organic products avoid, the usage of pesticides, herbicides, and all those things that when you consume, if you go back here, it will also contribute to the DNA damage. Okay. And then local where possible. Why local? Okay, firstly, if we talk about sustainability, the packaging and carbon footprint and all that. But another thing is that when things are transported, internationally, usually they need to, do some kind of treatment. Usually they'll put wax. So this is another thing that if you buy fruits and vegetables, you need to wash them. And I mean, there are a lot of vegetable detergent out there, and I also use some So these are the things that actually can affect. In fact, I have one friend who used to snack on vegetable, but in the end she got cancer. So the thing is, this is why it's important not just to eat a lot of vegetables and fruits, but also be aware of the preparation that is healthy preparation, and that it contains at least toxic ingredients in there, and also at least all this coating, especially if you don't remove them. Okay, then the next is actually to reduce your stress, because stress will affect the whole body. And actually the opposite of that is to find joy in what you do. And if you're not enjoying whatever you're doing, or you're stressful, then avoid that thing. For example, like work, maybe try and find another work, or if spouse, a bit hard to find another spouse, but I mean, that's just a joke. Okay? So we can try find strategies to reduce the stress, maybe like improve our communication at work, or improve communication with the spouse. Or if some things cannot be avoided, like you have a deadline, then find way that you can reduce your stress, maybe by exercising, okay, which actually helps and leads to the third one: exercise regularly. Just 30 minutes walk a day is actually quite enough to give you, I would say, enough exercise, but it has to be every day. Okay. And if you are already healthy, if you are not already, if you are overweight and stuff like that, you actually need more than 30 minutes. Okay. I won't be able to go into details today, but there are, some ways to calculate how much exercise you need according to body weight and all. And actually, Coach Zul and Coach Adi are experts in this also. Okay, number 4, get enough and quality sleep. Okay, I cannot emphasize this enough. Just a talk on sleep can be a 1-hour talk by itself, an introduction to sleep. Okay, so but today is just the introduction, and I only have 10 minutes for my session. So some tips I can give for quality sleep is, firstly, avoid radiation. So how do you avoid radiation? When you're sleeping, don't put your phone beside you. And especially don't put your phone under your pillow, okay, because the phone emits radiation. Okay, so usually what I do is that I will off my internet, I will off the Wi-Fi, and then even at home, I will off the internet switch when we are all sleeping. That is one of the ways. Internationally, there's one lady that I heard, she even make the house radiation proof. Like I think something with the walls, and then she don't have internet, but that's extreme lah. In Singapore, we need internet, right? That's like the most important thing in our life right now, I think, other than food. Okay, so get enough and quality sleep. Okay, sunlight. Why did I put sunlight here? When we expose ourselves to sunlight, especially in the morning, it will set our body for quality sleep in the evening. Okay, and then that will help us to, like our body clock will reset. And it's the same thing when you go overseas. Sometimes people get jet lag and all that. Expose yourself to sunlight. Okay, so overall, create a routine, a healthy routine for sleeping, and so that you get enough sleep and quality sleep. A lot of people think, okay, if they're busy, the thing that they skip is their meal and their sleep. And then you see, you have your meal here, balanced diet number 1, and then there you have your quality sleep. So it's important for you to manage that. Okay, then number 5. Okay, this is related to number 2 about reducing stress and finding joy. So what you can do, one of the strategies is to have a 5-minute gratitude journal every morning. So when you wake up, the first thing, instead of something stressful, think about, just give yourself 5 minutes and, think what is the thing you are grateful about. And some people, they feel that, just waking up, being able to be awake in the morning is already something to be, for them to be to have gratitude, because, otherwise the opposite is you just don't wake up. And, when your children or your family, your parents, they are around you, these are things that we can, think about in the morning when you have this gratitude journal practice, or the work that you have done, or maybe like Zul, last night you get this award, and then in the morning you're smiling like, wow. Right. So have that 5 minutes of gratitude journal. Okay, then number 6, get morning sunshine. As I mentioned, number 4, okay, the sunlight is not just for quality sleep. Okay, when you get sunshine, I just give one thing about sunshine, is that it gives you vitamin D. And vitamin D, just 2 things about vitamin D. One of that is it improves your immunity, your immune system. And another one is that it reduces depression. Is it enough, these 2? Or you need more? Okay, you can go and Google. There's a lot of benefit of sunshine other than vitamin D. Okay. And then after that, number 7, okay, one of the tips is get into nature. And I know some people say we live in the city. How do we get into nature? You can find pockets of nature, especially in Singapore. We are very lucky we can have pockets of nature. If you cannot find a lot of nature, okay, you can do 2 things. One, you can just find a patch of grass, remove your shoes, okay, make sure there's no glass or anything on the grass, and just let your feet touch the grass. That is one of the simplest things you can get into nature in a way, okay, when you're in the city. Or another thing you can do other than opening your shoes, some people say that I'm wearing sports shoe, I won't go running, I don't want to dirty my feet. So another thing you can do is, if you see a tree, you can hug the tree. It actually helps to ground you also, your emotion, because that is one of the way to get into nature. But of course, the best is that if you can, when you are doing your regular walk, find a nice park to walk in. And really, before 10 a.m. is the best, because before 10 a.m., the sunlight has less radiation, the harmful radiation. Of course, people would suggest to wear sunblock is good. But if in the morning there's less of this harmful radiation, then that is a really nice way to get into nature. When I started my regular walk, I only walk for 30 minutes. But then by now, I walk for 2 hours without feeling tired. So getting to nature helps. And then when you build the routine, it will help to build up your stamina and strength. Okay, so actually that's the crux of my topic for today, 7 strategies for proactive health. And yeah, so we will share later at the end of the session today about our follow-up course. If you feel you want more information, more detail, then you can follow us for our next session. So thank you so much for listening to my session. We will take the questions at the end of the session. Let's welcome Coach Zul, who is our performance coach. And a bit of introduction. Okay, Coach Zul, or his name Muhammad Zulkifli, is a triathlon coach. He swim, bike, run. Right? And he's a co-founder of Adam Explorer, which aims to create resilient, competent, and contributive youth of the future, okay, by providing the holistic development through education, through sports, community, and through entrepreneurship. Okay, so this will help address the educational needs and simplify difficult learning, and also develop and empower youth in reaching their full potential. So I believe we are parents, most of us are parents who are here because it's a parent-child workshop, but even if you're not, it will still be applicable. And with that, I welcome Coach Zul.
Hello, thank you, Dr. Mariam. Okay, let me share you my slide. All right. Okay, just yesterday, I just received the award from the president for the aspiring coach. I've been an athlete for the past 20 years. I was part of the Singapore shooting contingent back then during my army days. However, I do not have the financial to move forward. So I just do triathlon, and at the same time, 2019, I embarked into coaching, and 2022, I was awarded by Sports Care, because I do a lot of youth at risk. Youth at risk is my forte. This is where I groom, I look at their potential, I groom them accordingly. Okay. Let's see. All right, now just ask yourself, how much time do you spend your time with your children, honestly, from the time they are born up till where are they now? So just ask yourself, how much time do you spend your time with your children? So especially when you want to develop your children, so how much time do you actually spend time with them? As we know that now, currently the coaching fees, I think it's absurd, it's very expensive. But how can we parents do our part to develop our child? So this is some of the tips that we can do. So number one, we need to be a parents coach. So do we need to be registered? No, we don't need to be registered, but we just need to know what are the sports that your child are doing. So example is how to identify your child potential in their sporting journey. So we know that they are in a particular sports, but we want to, as a parents, we want to embark ourselves with their journey. So what are the things that we need to do? So number one, we need to identify the sports. So we need to know what sports are they playing. That's number one. Number two, we need to find out, is it an individual sports or a group sport? This is number two. Number three, what are the equipment that they need? Okay, doesn't mean that they require to, they are playing football, you need to buy the most expensive boots in Singapore. Actually, Decathlon is just enough. I'll explain to you why. Number four, the rules of the game. This is very, very important because a lot of injuries came from here because a lot of our children, they do not know the rules of the game, and then that's why a lot of injuries come in. So number five, when we know the rules, we need to know what are the sanctions. So sanction is what caused the person to be sanctioned. So in soccer, we have the yellow card and the red card. So we need to identify what are these causes, and we need to highlight to our children and emphasize on them. Because why? When a sanction is being given, all right, you will need to know that the opponent is the one that's going to get the injury. So example, if another player is getting sanctioned and the child is yours, so your child will most probably get the injury, right? So this is very important. So a lot of us, especially in Singapore, right, we have a lot of injury based on friendly games. A lot of, I think 90% of my friends, when they play soccer, they say they got injured. And they got injured is they got really badly injured. It's due why? Because they were hit. So they were the opponent was sanctioned. But the person that's paying the price is my friends itself, or your children, or the person. All right, number six, the potential injury. This is something that we have underlooked. This is something that we should be on part of it to see what are the potential injury and how we can minimize it. Okay, now ask yourself, should I invest heavily on my child new sports? I will give you the answer for both. Yes, you can invest heavily on your child when he is on his way to the national level. That's where you can invest on him because you know that he's been playing sports for the past 5 years, 10 years. Yes, you can invest heavily on your child sports if he's go to national. No, is when your child just embark in a new sports, especially our children when they are 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, or in fact 10 years old. They have the tendency to change sports, right? So when he likes to play something, so you do not necessarily need to invest on the equipment, right? Because he needs to enjoy. We need to identify what does our child love to do, because there are hundreds of sports in Singapore, so we do not know which one is our child is good at. If let's say you were to buy him all the expensive equipment for one sport, in 1 year he may change like 2-3 sports, and by then I think those that you have already spent the money on will be wasted. Okay, another alternative is you can get on Decathlon, because Decathlon they are producing good equipment. I would say it's very good. Even a $20 hiking shoe is very good. I will say this because I myself I'm using Decathlon, right? And the other one is Carousel. You might want to buy a second hand from Carousel instead, because if let's say you want to buy something that's expensive, like say example a badminton racket that costs you $150, you can get the same one for second hand for like $20-30. So it's a good bargain. It's just that it's second hand, but it doesn't matter, right? So this is whether you should invest on your child or not. Now, the next now, how do you identify if your child is ready for the sports? You can know that he is in the school team, or he's in the, let's say, the top 10 of the national team. We know that, oh, he's on his way to national. So this is where you can start to buy for him the equipment and also start to spend time with his training. Okay, now let's take a look at the training hours. Okay, this is training hours by the sports school. If you take a look, 4 hours, right? This is where the sports schools are training. They're training 4 hours a day, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. All right. So they train like 5 days, minimally 5 days a week. Every athlete will have a rest day. They cannot train 24/7 throughout the week. They will need a rest day, because why? They need a recovery. So if you take a look at your child, what we want to achieve is the training hours, because for all our national athletes or SEA Games athletes, they were required to hit a minimally 5,000 hours of training hours, and this one we cannot run. There's no such thing as you eat a pill and he can run faster. There's no such way. He need to train, right? So if we take a look, for sports school, let's see the numbers. So they're training like 80 hours a month. So by the time they are in secondary 4, you can see that they are only hitting 3,800 hours, which haven't hit the 5,000 hours. They will only hit the 5,000 hours when they are in sec 5. But most of them are sports school is secondary 1, 2, 3, 4. So where are the remaining 1,000 hours? Okay, the remaining 1,000 hours are during their primary school. So if you take a look at it, let's say you start to develop your child in primary school, so these are the hours that you require. All right. So you require like probably once a week for them to start off, because they need to start somewhere. So they need to increase from 1 hour to 2 hours to 3 hours. So when they train in school, they are training like 2 hours a week. Okay, now we need more hours. So how can you create that more hours? So the parents is the one that is going to help them with the training number of hours. Not necessarily that you need to teach them on the skills. You just need to spend time with them, like cycling, to boost their zone 1. What I mean is zone 1 is their aerobics. Okay, because a lot of our youth, they do not have the aerobics. So they are in sports, they have zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, and zone 5. So most of them, when they run, they are actually running at zone 4 and zone 5, which is very high. So what we want to do, we want to eliminate, we want to reduce their heart rate to a much lower, because this requires a very huge aerobics. If you take a look at our national athlete, they have a very low heart rate because they train when they are young. So this is what the parents, as a parents, we want to achieve. So ask yourself again, how many hours are they training weekly, monthly, and yearly? How many hours are you spending the time with your children to spend the hours of training? So this is something that you can look forward, you can screenshot, and you can work out with your children. All right, next one. I'm sorry. Now, rehab. Why does it matter? Remember, I mentioned to you about this, the potential injury. All right, so this is where the rehab comes in. Rehab, why does it matter? Now, I need you to understand what is the difference between prehab and rehab. Rehabilitation and rehabilitations. Okay, Prehab is before you get injured, you identify what is his potential injury is and fix it. Right. For rehab, this is where your child gets injured. And a lot of rehab injury is based on prehab, because you need the prehab first in order to kick in, then the rehab will come in. You need to get injured first. And where does this injury comes in? Now I'm going to explain to you. Okay, for the rehab injury, most of it come from the way you walk. The way you walk, you determine the way you run. The way you run, you determine the way you swim. And it fits the bill for everything. So what we do, what we have, the technology that we have is a foot plate analysis where we identify your child foot. Okay, let's take a look at this graph, right? So this graph, we can see that a lot of pressure here is on the heels. So in one view that we know that he's a heels rider. So when he runs, he is actually running on the heels, which we said, not say that it's no good. It can be done, but with a proper gait. So I'll explain to you what gait is, right? So from here, I can identify whether your child is a flat feet, your child has a high arch, what type of shoe your child should be wearing. So because a lot of us parents, when we buy shoe, we just buy, oh, this is very nice, I like this model. Okay, but we do not identify what type of shoe it is. So this is why a lot of injuries comes in, right? And then the next one is the gait analysis. All right. So why is it important? Okay. Foot plate analysis and gait analysis, they are brother and sister, which we cannot run away, because they identify one and another potential injury. So what does gait analysis do? It detects any abnormalities of a person. If you take a look at your leg, so what you can do is you later on, you just jump. You can see that with your leg, are they under a neutral position? That means, are your legs straight, or they are externally or internally rotated? If you take a look at this feet here, this feet is actually internally rotated. And because of your child leg is internally rotated, this is the number one cause of injury. Your child will not feel now. It will feel in many, many years later. And by then, it is going to be under prehab. Okay, this is something that the community is missing, which is not addressed. So this is something that we are addressing. And you take a look at your right, okay, you can see that it is externally rotated. So there's only two. There's internally rotated and then externally rotated. In sports science, we call it inversion and eversion, but it is something a bit I think the words are a bit cheap lah. So what we can see, what we can understand is whether it's externally rotated or internally rotated. And then we take a look at your leg. You see under here the overpronation. Your child leg, is it overpronation or underpronation? What we want to achieve, neutral. Okay. So in Newton's law, we understand there's Newton's law 1, 2, and 3. But what we want to achieve is we want to achieve a straight line. Yeah, that is what we want to achieve. So once you understand what is the meaning of the straight line, you will understand that all the performance comes from there, right? So this is why a lot of our child gets injured, and this is where that we need to identify them. Yeah, which I will cover in the next topic. So this is something a bit more advanced, but it can be identified by using a camera phone and how to identify it and how to fix it by the next session. All right. Okay. With that, that's for my session. So if you have any question, just keep it in the text and we will address it later. Now, give me a second. Let me stop share. Okay, now I would like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Coach Hassan, who is a holistic health and fitness coach. Now, a bit about Coach Hassan. Coach Hassan Mulyadi, or Coach Adi, is a personal trainer and swimming coach with a passion to inspire and motivate people to take the step and start feeling better about themselves. He is ready to support busy men and women in their 40s with young families so that they look great in t-shirts and confident in their new bodies. An experienced PE teacher for over 10 years, he can support parents to coach their children to improve their psychomotor skills and movement. Without further ado, I would like to present Coach Hassan or Coach Adi to give his presentation. Coach Adi, please.
Thank you very much, Coach Zul. That was a very interesting talk by Dr. Mariam and Coach Zul on how actually you can support your child in the development through the gait analysis by Coach Zul, as well as a parent, you want to also introduce some health nutrition by Dr. Mariam. Thank you both very much for both for sharing those things. Okay, all right. So good morning, parents. I would like to also thank everyone for attending this talk again. So basically what I'm sharing with you right now is what we are dealing with now. Healthy parents is equivalent to healthy kids. Okay, why do I say that? That's what we're here to find out. Okay, this is a short bio of myself. Okay, I have a degree in sports science and physical education from a reputable university in UK, and I'm a certified fitness nutrition from the ISA, and I've been a physical educator for more than 15 years. I'm a health and fitness coach in Indonesia for 5 years, and I established my company CrossFit Crib in 2017 in Jakarta, Indonesia. I've conducted many online group exercises during the high peak period of COVID-19, and my major focus is on weight loss, strength and conditioning, and parent coaching in skill acquisition. And in that sense, I've already compiled some of my my experiences in a book called Hot 40s. Okay, so we are right now in the performance and coaching section of the talk, whereby Dr. Mariam and Coach Zul has already started with the healthy eating as well as the prevention of injuries. I will be focusing more on the performance and coaching. Okay, healthy parents leads to healthy kids. Now, for me, actually, I approach it through a holistic healthy parents, which comprises of the mental fitness, physical fitness, spiritual fitness, emotional fitness, as well as social fitness. Okay, I will deal with all these aspects of fitness in entirety in the next few slides. Okay, physical fitness is all about the bodily movements that enhance physical fitness, including stretching exercises. Now, some of these exercises include HIIT, high intensity interval training, HIIT or high intensity resistance training, yoga, Pilates, as well as the FIT principle, which is the frequency, intensity, interval, as well as the types of training. Okay, and then for the emotional fitness is feel and embrace of emotion that come our way. So it's a lot more of being present of how you feel on that day. Okay, and at the same time also how is it like your body disposition how your body okay. I shall continue, and then at the same time also mental fitness, equipping yourself with some sports psychology practices such as imagery, goal setting, and as well as other things. And then social fitness is all the ability to adapt comfortably to different social situations and appropriately in a variety of settings. For example, community services. All community services is part of being socially fit. And then we have a spiritual fitness. Here, persons with a high purpose is basically on how you as a parent, your spiritual fitness, how do you want to connect yourself with your kids on them being spiritual fit, how they themselves as most of our attendees are Muslim. So how do you want to connect our iman towards towards our fitness itself? Okay, so right now I'm going to share with you on how to coach your kids through the how to use those concepts into coaching your kids. Now, in coaching your kids, it's actually there are three stages of coaching: the cognitive, associative, as autonomous. What Coach Zul is talking is already at the autonomous stage. But the thing is, we cannot reach the autonomous stage without going through the cognitive as well as the associative stage. Okay. Now, I will just explain briefly on what is the cognitive, what is associative, and what is autonomous stage. Okay. The cognitive stage is actually the beginning stage of a child playing a sports or playing a game. Okay. This is where parents plays a very important part in actually in developing the cognitive stage. I'm sure most of us will just leave this stage to the PE teachers in school, right? Okay, the PE teacher will do the job. Basically, they will teach my son how to run, how to jump, how to skip, and things like that. But in actual fact, this cognitive stage is actually starts from home. Okay, the moment that the child is able to walk, the moment the child knows how to actually run from home, this is where that basically the cognitive stage is all about. Whereby the cognitive stage is whereby the feedback from the parents is very, very important. Even the skill of throwing and catching a ball. Hey, even the simple step of throwing and catching a ball is very, very fundamental to be taught at home itself. Okay, the skills need to be broken down, and then feedback is very frequent, so that basically, son, how do you catch the ball? Your hands must be open, must be close together, and things like that. These are at a very, very important stage. Okay, and then for the associative stage is whereby the child is able to already recognize, the kinesthetics of the child is ready to already go on to the is somehow able to get the skill that what is the parent is trying to tell them. For example, throwing and catching. Okay, the kid has already managed to know what are the steps that associated in catching a ball, or when they are throwing a ball, their legs must be stepping forward, their hands might be stretched back, and all things like that. Those are already at the associative stage. Feedback is important as well, but the thing is, the feedback is very minimal in a way that how the skills is broken down. Okay, that is the associative stage. For the autonomous stage, is whereby the child is already able to do the skills freely, with minimum feedback on their performance. With minimum feedback on how the skill is being done, but more on how to improve the skills, how to throw further, or how to jump further, how to throw further, how to jump higher, and how to go faster. This is basically the autonomous stage. Now, how is the holistic healthiness of the parents related to all of these things? Now, for the cognitive stage, as mentioned by Dr. Mariam just now, I just like to emphasize proper dieting is very important. On how do you actually prepare a proper diet for the child. Now, at the same, I just want to reiterate about the high carbohydrate, high sugar content of what Dr. Mariam says. Well, sugar is important, but not so much, because the thing is like with the high sugar intake, basically they will not only lead to diabetes, at the same time also do other diseases. I have students before who are just 10 years old, whereby they cannot live without Coca-Cola. So the thing is that their parents have to have a Coca-Cola every single meal for the kid. And by the age of 10, he suffers from type 2 diabetes. So in a way, so these kind of things are preventable. Okay, at the same time also foster mental toughness. This is where parents can give some challenging tasks, but at the same time also attainable tasks. Okay, and then the parents can also set goals, practice reflection, practice mental imagery, and grow intrinsic motivation. So do not reward the child of, okay, you are able to throw the ball, and then give them something assignment like a treat or something like that. So in a way, slowly infuse in them some intrinsic motivation. Okay, and at the same time also, like Dr. Mariam mentioned, a healthy parents, enough rest and enough sleep. Okay, and then so we can support your physical training through the prehab that Dr. Zul mentioned just now. Okay, now for the associative stage, okay, as a parent, basically the kids do not coach or do not overcoach or do not overcoach the coach. I mean, I'm sure sorry at this stage, some parents has already maybe enrolled their kids into a team or into a academy or something like that. Please do not overcoach the coach. So if you are already attending the games attending games with your child, never argue with the match officials. This is part of also how does the holistic fitness, how does the holistic healthy fitness parents is basically is all about emotional. How do you control your emotions? Yeah, how you control your emotions. Okay, and at the same time also allow them to take complete of the actions, like what Dr. Zul mentioned. The knowing of the rules help a lot. So basically as a parent, on how the knowledge of the games itself helps to when you infuse those rules into the kids, that will allow them to maybe take accountability. If suppose if they decided to inside their head, I don't know, on that day they might be able to go have a rough play with their opponents or something like that. That will help to prevent all of this. Again, practice mental imagery if they're into individual sports, like if they're into individual sports like tennis or badminton or something like that. But at the same time also practice mental imagery. Okay, this association still requires a lot of feedback from parents as well. Okay, and watch for injuries, treat injuries, and support through injuries when necessary. So basically, when the child is at this associative stage, okay, their training might be going a bit more intense. So watch for the injuries. I mean, the thing is help them to treat the injuries, and if they say it is painful or something like that, really find out what is happening through these injuries. Okay, the last one, autonomous stage. Okay, the autonomous stage is whereby they are already there. I mean, basically, with what I think Coach Wu can testify to this. They are already at the time whereby they are little feedback from the parents, but more feedback from the coach. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you're supposed to just stop coaching your child. Okay, this is you do not stop coaching your child at all. But the thing is, this is this is a crucial stage whereby you are going to celebrate. Okay, celebrate any kind of achievement that they have achieved. For example, they broke into the first 11, for example, in a football match or in a football team, or they have improved in their personal best or something like that. So really celebrate together with them on their achievements. Then at the same time also encourage, not to criticize. Again, back to all the holistic healthiness. When you are holistically healthy, you do not criticize, right? You're much more encouraging your child on how your child can do better. And at the same time also, maybe at home you can also review your training schedule, your training strategies. Well, not necessarily that you have to tell the coach that, oh, I want to change this, I want to change this. No, what you can do is you can review your training strategies. Okay, and then review goals as well as gratitude, like what Dr. Mariam said. When we want them to be grateful of their achievements. That their achievements is basically being given to them, and this given to them is basically they need to be grateful about what is given to them. Okay, and at the same time also self-healing. You know, maybe there are times that you as a parent need some time alone with your kids to really talk about, okay, what is achievement? How do you feel about your achievement? What is your experience about achieving all of these things? You know, these kind of things will help them to really prepare themselves also during times when they are injured, or during the times when they are not when you're not performing in the sports on the certain days or something like that. So this self-healing process is also very important. Now, volunteer work, why do I put that? I mean, the thing is like, as you can see, most of the professional football players or basketball players around the world, they do volunteer work, right? They do volunteer work. So this itself, this volunteer work, when they do all of this, they are able to be more, well, I would say, be grateful about what is given to them. So this could be their platform for themselves to make a difference for others as well. You know, I'm sure you know, some of the very famous basketball players, they open up a summer camp to teach basketball to the not so very well known person, not so well to do person, and things like that. So this kind of work will help to basically help them to know that, oh, I can make a difference not only for myself but also as well to others. Okay, and then rejuvenate, rest, relax, celebrate. And then you need to also have some time for them to relax. Okay, if they would like to spend time with the team, if you can bring them sort of some holidays or some nature walks or something like that, help them to rejuvenate. Okay, help them to rejuvenate. And at the same time also treat injuries, as I mentioned just now. These injuries is, I mean, the thing is, you need to treat injuries so that they can go back to their best when performing at their autonomous stage, and at the same time also to prevent further injuries. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Suhaimi, for just coming in. Thank you very much. Okay, so again, I would like to recap all of these things that we just mentioned just now is basically synergizing on how do you want to help your child. Okay, from Dr. Mariam's healthy eating, and then from what Coach Zul has mentioned about the gait, is all the prevention of injuries, and for me, the performance and coaching on how do you want to help your child to prepare them, okay, to prepare them in their sports, okay, and not necessarily that we want to encourage you to for them to focus into one sport, but rather have them a range of sports that they can play and experience. You know, when you are coaching your child, you're actually preparing your child to be adaptable to every sport. And when they come, and when they come to the stage whereby they want to zoom in into a particular sport, they are able to basically be ready, not only physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, as well as spiritually, but they are also ready psychomotorically to play to meet the demands of the sports. Okay, Dr. Mariam, I think that's the end from my part. I'm sure there are some interesting questions from the audience over here.
Yeah, there's one question by Carmila. Okay, I think this is question to Dr. Mariam. How about cycling, Dr. Mariam? Is it part of the 7 that you mentioned?
Okay, yeah. So for cycling, maybe Coach Adi, you can off the slides.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for your introduction. It's really very interesting. Okay, just for the rest of y'all, actually, it's the first time we are also seeing each other's presentation. So I'm also very interested in, you know, what the other two coaches are presenting. Okay, so about cycling, how about cycling? I think this one actually Coach Zul can answer better. Although it's asked during my session, right? Or it's actually from
your session.
Oh, during my session.
Yeah.
Cycling is good. Definitely cycling is good because in terms of aerobic exercise, it exercise all parts of the body. So cycling, swimming, walking, running, they're all good. But it's just sometimes for people when they are starting to exercise. Why do I mention only walking? Because when people want to start, they want something of least resistance. If you're already active, it's perfect. You know, it's really good. But when people want to start, then the least resistance is actually walking, because why? You don't need any equipment, and then you can do it anywhere. You can do it any time of the day. You just need a watch, or you agak-agak, 30 minutes. And then you can, the footwear, actually, of course, it's good to have good footwear, like Coach Adi mentioned just now. But even if you don't have proper footwear, for 30 minutes, you can start with what you have, okay? And then later on, as you progress, you go and get something that is suitable for your leg and is good, it cushions. Because actually, I ever walked before with my slippers, walking is fine with my slippers. But then there was also a time when I was running with my slippers. Why? Because I always have to go and get my daughter from preschool before it closes. So very last minute, then I run. No. After 1 week, I actually have something called plantar fasciitis. Maybe I say it wrongly, but it's at the ball of the feet, the heel. Is it the heel? The heel. Yeah, there's some issues there lah. I don't exactly know the physiology, but I think it's something to do with the tendon and the muscles over there. So over long run, if you put a huge impact without proper footwear, then you can get issues. But otherwise, if it's just walking, which is low impact and short period of time, you can start without having to invest in any gear. So that's why I mentioned walking. But cycling is good. You need proper bicycle for your height and things like that. And then I think you also need proper technique. Don't think that cycling budak-budak also can learn and then anybody can just cycle. I got injured from cycling because that time tour in Europe and then go with my friends in an island, 3 days continuous cycling. I got no proper technique. I think I didn't even put the height properly. So I got injured for 2 years from that 3 days of cycling. So I think actually Coach Zul will actually have session for cycling, and we're going to talk about that later. And then Coach Zul can actually teach more. Okay, Coach Zul, do you want to add actually about cycling?
Okay, so basically for cycling, because cycling, swimming, and running, they address different parts of the body. So actually, it doesn't matter which sports you are doing, but importantly is you need to have the proper techniques. There's a lot of people. It's very important because why? Even running has the technique, walking has the technique. What do you call that? Swimming, everything got the technique. I just share with you something that you have seen outside. Let's talk about the shoe industries. If you notice, right, a lot of us we have gait issues, right? Okay, when I do a test for gait analysis for around more than 150 triathletes, we are talking about those that are very active. Unfortunately, 90% have gait issues, right? And this is why they get injured. Okay, so what we want to achieve is for them to have a proper gait, and that's what we want to achieve. So it doesn't matter whether you are running or you are cycling. Okay, we take a look at the industries currently, right? We are a lot of us when we walk, we are walking on the hills. This one is no choice. We have to live with it, right? And because when you have an improper gait, when you run, you are actually running on your heels. And this is the number one cause of injury. And because you got a 1+1 injury, now the industry say, hey, can you change your running habits to go for the balls or the pit? Now, then the committee say, hey, I've been running for the past 30, 40 years. You want me to change that habit? No way I'm going to do that. So what does the shoe industry do? Nike, whatever, all this, right? Adidas. You can see that the heels are very big. You can see now. Back in 10 years ago, right, you don't have much of the shoes that are thick, the heels. But now, this generation, I think from 2019 onwards, right, you can see that the heels are very, very big. If you notice, this is because why? The community doesn't want to change. So the shoe industries, they change it. They make the shoe thick, the heels thick, so that they can act more pressure on the heel side. Yeah.
May I add, Dr. Zul and Coach Zul and Dr. Mariam? The thing is, we are not only dealing with kids having gait issues over here, but also parents, maybe those of you who are at this age or who are above 40 years old. It is so very important to find proper shoes lah. I mean, Dr. Mariam mentioned something about wearing slippers, so bagus juga gitu. But at least it's a good start. It is a good start that most of us are already embracing this healthy lifestyle gitu.
Yeah. The shoe helps a certain percentage, but your gait is the one that that
Is the more
we should,
important.
is the more important one. So
Yes.
if it doesn't mean that you get a good shoe, means doesn't mean you have an expensive shoe, you are going to run well. So it's the
Correct.
gait that is going to the fix you. Okay, we got the second question by Coach Hassan. Okay, doctor, the sunshine you mentioned, right? That we need to expose ourselves to the sunshine. What is the best time to be exposed?
This one I actually did cover a bit, but I think it was after the question was asked also. The best is before 10, because I think this one is a bit hard to find papers lah, but a lot of people say before 10, the harmful ray is not so much.
So that means it's the same as the baby jaundice, is it?
Yeah, baby jaundice, yeah.
So it's before 10, Okay, so
Before
before
10.
10.
Usually the earlier the better lah, in the morning.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Doc.
Welcome.
Okay,
Actually, when at sunrise is also good. Sunrise is good. And if you cannot go in the morning, in the afternoon, there's also the golden time in the afternoon. But that one I don't quite remember. Is it 6 o'clock or something? But just before sunset lah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think I'm more confident of the morning one before 10.
Before 10. Okay, so we should exercise before 10. Because sometimes when we wake up, okay lah, 5 minutes. So when we want to exercise, it's more than 10 o'clock. By the time it's very hot. Okay, we should, after subuh, should go out already.
Yeah, after subuh, yes.
Okay, so the next question by Nur Mazila. Where do we get our fit analysis? Okay, there's two ways for you to do it. Number one is just by video cam it. Okay, so just by video camera it. This is the cheapest, and it's a long term process, but it's the cheapest. Okay, so what you can do is first is identify whether your child has a gait or not. That's number one. Number two, how we want it to be fixed. Because if let's say they are walking externally or internally, right? What we want to do, we want them to walk straight like this. So what we can do when they walk anywhere, or even you can do 2 taps. You just do a 2 taps on your floor, right? So let them walk normally, because you need the muscle memory, right? Needs to work together in order for you to form that gait back. Okay. So when you walk, you see any straight line, just walk with the line. Just walk with the line. Okay? Because why? Kita punya muscle memory is very, very don't degil. They are not ready for you to change. Even when we do our correctioning, right? If they don't do the gait properly, right? It's very difficult for them to go to the next session, because it's very difficult for someone to change. For example, I asked Dr. Mariam or Coach Hassan, who have been working for the past 40, 50 years in that way. I want you to change. Of course, it's going to be very, very difficult. So what we need to do is, as long as we can find any straight lines, then you just walk accordingly, because it will change by itself naturally. But of course, it will take months and years for you to achieve that. Okay, the other one is I'm going to share with you. I'm not promoting this. I'm just sharing. Okay, this is the website that you can go. This is called the Level Up. So Level Up, you know about trifecta, right? So this is one of the services that they do lah. Okay, so this is the gait analysis where they will do analysis for you. Okay, so the price here is $25, and for 5 minutes, and then for 30 minutes, what we do is we are doing a force plate, running gait, walking gait, and the running gait. So we will do all the tests for you. All right, and then there's an additional. This is where the money comes in lah. This is where, because we need to do corrections. Okay, so for what we do is we will get the parent. Example, if you have a child, right? What we will suggest is the parents will come with the child, so that we can help teach the parents, so that the parents can fix it for the children. Because once we fix it, right, he needs to continue walking the same way. Because once we fix, it's going to be like that. You're going to be straight back. But then in a few days, they will open up back. So as the parents, what you need to do is to do the same work, same exercise again, so that it will come in back. Right? Okay. So why is this one? It's because I'm part of the team here. So we are the first one in the industry that is doing the analysis, the gait analysis. Yeah. I hope that's answered the question.
This one actually later we will
Yeah.
share also about where you can register, because we have an internal registry for those who come today. Okay, kejap. So the next question is it due to the shoes can cause issue especially for imbalanced footing?
Yes, correct. Because why? Number one, when we just now when I mentioned when we buy a shoes, right? We just buy the shoe based on we like the shoes. Okay, but there are actually procedures. So the footplate analysis will eventually know what type of leg you are, and then the video analysis will tell you, okay, what is the perfect shoes for you. Okay, so what happens when you wear wrong shoes? Okay, so now let's say you have an injury, you have a pronation which you don't know, but based on analysis, right, we know find out that you got these issues. So what happened is, without the knowledge, right, when you you don't know that you got this injury, so now you got one injury, so you buy a shoe that does not address to this injury. So this will not, the shoe does not only add on to the injury, it will somehow not, I will not say worsen, it will expedite the time for you to get injured. Yeah, so this is why shoe selections is very important lah. So when you want to do like imbalancing footing, so that is by the footplate analysis. So the footplate analysis will tell you what is the weight distributions. Okay, because some of them, they you will notice, right, they have two different legs. Yeah, so the two different legs, they have two different pressures, and this cannot be addressed by using the same shoes. Because shoes are designed in both are the same. So what they need to address this is they need to have an insole, a customized insole for them to protect it. But of course, the corrections will also helps to bring back to the original form. Yeah, I hope that I answer your question.
Okay, so thank you, Zul. And the next question, Doctor, based on healthy eating, is yogurt and prebiotic drink considered healthy? If yes, are there specific type of yogurt to consume? Actually, yes. Yogurt is one of the most important for me, other than people say about vitamins and minerals. Actually, yogurt or probiotics is one of the most important thing that we need to eat. And then prebiotics is actually food for the probiotics. So probiotic is actually just a fancy name for good bacteria. Okay, the good bacteria is everywhere in your body. Okay, and then prebiotic is actually food for the probiotic, food for this good bacteria. And where can you find prebiotic? Is actually from your fruits and vegetables. It already contains the prebiotic. If you want to ask about specific types of yogurt, take plain yogurt that has no additional sugar, no preservative, no color, no whatever. And then you can add your own fruits. You can add your own, even madu, honey, to give some flavoring. But when you buy the yogurt itself, buy the plain one. Because the more additive they add, then as I mentioned earlier, just on healthy eating, and actually I have another talk which is 30 minutes just on toxins. That one, you will add more things because when they add flavor, they will add sugar, and then they will add color. So from a healthy thing, it become unhealthy. And then actually, maybe entah nak promote ke tak promote, I actually do have a selection of probiotics that I also distribute. Because exactly like you say, is there any specific types to consume? I find it actually very hard to find good quality probiotics and good quality vitamins and even snacks that do not have sugar and all these additives. So that's why I have 3 young children, 3, 5, and 7 years old. So because of my children, I've been searching for these kind of things also to give my children. And that's where in the end I say, hey, if I want this, other parents also want this. So monthly, I do a group buy where I will compile the orders, and then people can order through me, and then because of that group order, then we get better discount. Okay, so today is an introduction, right? As you see, in just 1 hour, maybe we have been talking from about 10, 15 years now to about 11 or 11, 15 before the Q&A, and we already covered quite a lot. And really that is just a preview, because when we want to go into details, you need really a lot more, and we don't want to just give details. We want to actually give practical details and can even practice together. So we have been speaking together for a couple of weeks, or maybe a bit more over a month, that we are thinking, okay, to benefit our community, we are doing a combined course where, you know, we will share with the audience about our expertise. So one of the things that we are going to come up with is a course with healthy food preparation, and also more extension of what we do today on the parental coaching, physical activities and sports. And then, you know, this course, we will even include for you a consultation with me for one person, maybe for your child or for yourself. And then 1 hour HITT session with Coach Adi, and also one cycling session with Coach Adi for one person. But of course, you can always include more people at your own cost. So actually, just to give a rough gauge, you know, these are the individual prices, and it amounts up to 525. But we want to put together so that you can benefit from this, okay, for only $39. It's like for me, it's like no brainer. $39, you go makan McDonald's satu kali is already $39. But we really want to share this information to the community. Like I said, you know, for example, even just for cancer, is the top killer in Singapore, but there's so much more things we can do to prevent that. And why don't we do it? You know, so we want to offer this to the community. And the food plate and gate analysis, Coach Zul is offering. Usually he says at $50, and for the audience today, he's offering it at $25. And the form that is shared in the link, in the chat, okay, actually contains the link for the feedback for this session today, as well as for registration for this. So you can actually just tick over there what you're interested in. But I think maybe, yeah, you try and fill it up before end of today lah, so that you still remember, you know. Developmental squad, this is also something that Coach Zul is offering. Coach Zul, can you tell a bit more? Is this part of the course above, or is this a separate, you know, membership?
Okay, this is so-called, we can put it together. So what we are doing is we are developing our new next generation for the national squad. So what we are doing is we are developing them at 9 years old. So what we are doing a base fitness, which is a swim, bike, run. I will say it's a triathlon lah. Why swim, bike, run? Because for them to have a base fitness, they need certain quantities lah. So what we are offering is the swim, bike, run. Because if you, let's say, if you have a soccer player who is a triathlete versus a normal soccer player, you can see that the fitness level is on par lah. So what we are achieving, we are achieving a base fitness for your children, okay, so that they can go to whatever sports that they want. They doesn't need to be a triathlete. They can be a soccer player. They can be a rugby player. They can be whatever sport that they want. But what we want to achieve here is the base fitness, which we see the base fitness is at par with those at the those top athlete from the school, whichever team that you are. You can see that the base fitness will be on par, because all our coaches are national ex-national athletes. We have our upcoming what do you call this, cycling. We have an upcoming bike handling skills for children, which we can participate in. Is inclusive of the $39. We are going to have it next week, which you can enroll in your child. Enroll your child in. We will provide the bikes and the helmet, so you just bring your child over. It's at Sengkang Sports Station, Sports Complex. Yeah.
Okay, so this one, yeah, so the developmental squad is also inclusive in the cost that is above lah the $39. So actually for $39 you get all this. Actually the developmental squad is also about 120 kan, coach? Or is it 150 per month?
Yeah, $150, but we are offering $130 for this group. Yeah, per month. Yeah, so we're going to have one run session and two swim and bike session. So we're going to cover the swim, bike, run session.
Okay, yeah. So for the $39, you get one session lah of the developmental squad.
Yes, you get one session, the cycling session.
Okay. So okay,
just to add on, you can also bring your child and you can do the HIIT session with me. Side by side.
Jalan.
Ya, sambil jalan gitu.
Yeah, we're going to do it for the child and for the parents. So both of it's going to be a family session lah. So I will take care of your children, and Coach Hassan will take care of the parents. Yep.
Okay, so you can register for this in the link that Coach Adi already shared just now. Okay, so I also hope that you can give us some feedback so that we can know, what do you like about the session today and also how we can improve for the next session. We are going to have this talk again in December, 15, right? 15 December lunchtime, 12 o'clock. So we're going to release the registration soon. Actually, it's the same form. We're just going to change the date, the same form that you registered. So if you feel that today's session has been beneficial for you, then please invite your friends and and fill in the feedback form so that we can also include it as a testimonial for our next session. That these are what the previous participant think about our session, and then it can encourage more people. As we mentioned, we want to help improve the health of the community lah. Singapore, and we have our guest from Malaysia today and Indonesian friends, Coach Hassan.
Yes, definitely.
And even if people overseas they want to join in, most of our things are online. Okay, so I think is there any other things?
Again, we would like to thank all of you for attending. Dr. Mariam?
Yeah, I think that's all that we today is just the beginning lah, I hope, and hope to see you in the future session. You can come again in December 15, or we really very much welcome you to sign up for our course, combined course, and benefit from that, inshallah. Thank you so much. Okay, yeah, thank you for organizing this workshop, and thank you also for attending. Thank you for making your time this morning.
Yep.
Okay, so I think with that we close the session.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you. So we see you again. Bye.
Bye.
And Assalamualaikum.
Salam.